Hello! Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out, but now you're back in our nightmare again. Welcome back to yet another sports podcast with your bearded brothers. I am Matt.
I have a haircut.
He got a nice haircut. He looks like a wonderful boy.
I had to trim up the beard too.
It's
not as long.
Yeah, I have a place I
trimmed it
go
up so that it would grow back out.
Yeah, I have a place that I go that keeps mine shaped for me.
Yep. So he shaped mine, and I wanted to grow it out longer. He's like, yeah, with the way yours is curling in on it, though, you're going to have to shave off a good amount of it to get it to start growing out straighter again.
Mm-hmm.
So
they just keep mine nice and shaped, though. I'm not worried about it because mine likes to curl around a little bit, too.
Mine does, but I want mine to still grow it a little bit more than what it was. And it was at the point where it was going to keep curling in on itself, not grow out further longer.
Yeah.
And I wanted to grow it out a little longer before it starts curling in. So
anyway, you are back yet again to where we are. We do have a couple of quick stories to talk about. And then we are going to do a 1-32 or 32-1 preseason rankings. We're also going to give you our best guess as to what their record is going to end up being. And you can feel free to disagree with us, and we're probably going to disagree with each other. So
I can already tell you what my predictions. If you would have asked me what my predictions would have been before I made this list, my predictions of what my list would have already been wrong.
Yeah.
So
mine are pretty close, but oh man, I think the problem is I don't know how to feel about certain teams, and I don't know how.
There are definitely certain teams that I had a hard time of trying to figure out where they were going to be.
I wound up with a lot of stuff that's
I mostly started with the teams that I knew for sure kind of what they were going to be, and then that kind of helped me dial in what the other teams' kind of record might look like, and I kind of went from there.
Yeah, I kind of did. I went I have a lot of 7 and 10s and 9s and 8s and 8s and 9s and stuff like that.
Oh, I have. Let me see here. How many teams do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I have 19 teams under 10 wins.
That makes sense. I think I have somewhere similar to that, a little less.
And then
But if you're counting under 10 wins, all the 9 and 8s and 8s and 9s. Oh god.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I have a ton. I
have a lot of those.
Yeah.
I have a 9 and 8, 8 and 9, and then after the 8 and 9 it drops severely to 6-11 for 2 teams, and then 5-11, 4-11, 3-11, 2 and 15. Oof.
Yeah.
I do have a team in here that is 2 and 15 this year.
All right, but we should talk about a couple of quick things. First off, the Timberwolves beat the Nuggets.
Let's go!
They are going on to face up against the Dallas Mavericks. Now,
tonight.
Is that no? That's tomorrow night.
Tuesday. I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday. Is the first night.
Because tonight,
I thought it was Tuesday.
Tonight is the Celtics and the Pacers.
Is it? Okay. I could have sworn I read Tuesday, but I'm going to double check. I might have misread.
The only reason I know that is because I've already looked. And
I just feel like double checking now because I could have sworn I read that.
Because when
it makes me a little sad that oh man, because I'm curious why did I read Tuesday? And
because
I might have been just reading.
Technically, the conference finals start Tuesday.
Oh, that's probably what I read then. Yeah, okay, yeah, it is here tomorrow at 7:30. Okay. God dang it.
And we are down to the conference finals as well in hockey.
Yes. I'm not as interested in that because the Wild sucked.
I am because, like I said, I have picked 4 teams, 3 other teams beyond the Wild, and one of my teams is still in it, and that is the New York Rangers.
That's fair.
So, I mean, and I don't really care if they lose to the Panthers because we have a mutual friend that is a giant Panthers fan.
I mean, the Panthers they're a pretty fun team, to be fair. I mean, they haven't been super successful for a very long time.
And then I am rooting for, but they also have never won a Stanley Cup.
That's the other reason that it's kind of fun because it's the idea that they haven't been. Which one is the Panthers fan?
Hector.
Oh, Hector. Okay, that makes sense.
Hector's a Florida Panthers fan.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I'm rooting for Edmonton because fudge Dallas.
I mean, it's a little bit of a weak sauce, but fair. I get it.
I despise Dallas so much for stealing the hockey team I grew up with as a kid.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, the Stars.
So I will only root for Edmonton. I root for Edmonton for two reasons. One, McDavid, I feel like he kind of needs a cup.
Fair.
And
He probably does deserve one.
Yeah, he deserves one. Him and Draisaitl probably both. Like, I'm like, okay, that'd be nice. And also, I just really hate Dallas.
No, that's fair.
Further news.
Also, the fact they couldn't change their name also was like, really? You kept the Star,
yeah,
really?
right?
Really?
Why?
That's like a slap in the face.
Why didn't you go with like the Dallas Lassos or
Yeah,
I don't know, something?
just felt like a slap in the face.
Yeah, because you've got the Rangers, you've got the Mavericks. I was like, okay, those team names make sense. You've even got the Cowboys. That team makes sense. Why couldn't you have gone with like the Dallas Herd
Texans.
or the Stampede or the Texans or the Bulls or
Yeah.
the Longhorn? Well, I mean, Longhorns are
The
team,
Bulls
but,
you couldn't really do either. Yeah,
but you get the idea, right? The Cattlemen.
Oh.
The Lone Rangers. I don't know. Come up with something better than what you did, but you didn't. No. So you just kind of you dropped the Desperados. Even would be all right. The Dallas Desperados. It's an alliteration and it works.
Exactly.
But you went with Stars. You dropped the North part off and just went with Stars.
Stars.
It's like what's his name? Nemesis during Resident Evil. Stars. To continue hockey news in the PWHL, the Pro Women's Hockey League.
Oh.
Minnesota is currently facing off against Boston for the first inaugural PWHL Cup.
Woo!
Boston won the first game. They are currently playing right now. I don't know who's up. I know Minnesota's got a pretty good team. We've had a really good goaltender this year. I've been like the games I have caught, I've enjoyed. So I'm not mad at it. I like it.
That's fair.
And finally, I want to make fun of the Giants before we make fun of the Giants.
I mean, to be fair, I will severely make fun of the Giants in a later segment.
We're all going to make fun of the Giants in a later segment, but we're going to make fun of the Giants now because what in the Giants? What are those uniforms? What are those?
I swear that looks like a uniform from the UFL. Like, isn't there a UFL team that had those kind of pattern colors?
I have no idea, but I absolutely know it's a ripoff of the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, I know for sure there was one that looked.
I think my
similar.
personal favorite was Tom Grossi when he said that they looked like Pepsis.
I get it.
The blue and red swirls in the helmet.
No, I get the idea. It's not quite there, but I get the idea.
Yeah.
I get the idea.
But yeah, I saw them and immediately went, oh, ripping off the Canadians, are we?
Apparently, right away was just like UFL team. This looks like a UFL team.
Apparently, this was their uniform way, way back in the day. For the longest of times. Although the Canadians still used it first. The brown pants are something the Canadians used for a long time. So, overall, it's just a ripoff of the Canadians' uniforms, but the Giants used it for a very long time and then switched up their uniforms, finally.
They should really change their uniforms, because, like, even their new ones were ugly before, too. Like, they gotta find a way to make those interesting.
I don't know what they're doing.
They gotta find a way to make those uniforms interesting.
Like,
I just don't know
what
how.
the Jets did by streamlining things, then adding that darker, sparkly green on the helmets.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. Like, could you do something like that? Could you make the helmets like a deeper, sparkly blue? Like, do something with it.
Do something. Like, even the Browns are actually not as boring, and you'd think they would be, but they're somehow not quite as boring.
Yeah, not quite.
They're still boring. Don't get me wrong.
They're still very boring. I think my favorite odd uniforms belong to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're
You talking about the creamsicle ones?
The creamsicles.
Oh God.
I like them. I don't know why I like them.
To be fair, I'm also the guy that there's a lot of people who really hate the Seahawks color rush green uniforms.
Oh, I love it.
I really like the
I like it too.
Pop.
I like the color rush.
I'm like, ha ha.
I'm like, yeah, it's gonna burn your eyes.
Like
I don't care. I'm also the same guy though that rooted for Boise State to keep their blue field.
The blue field. I want that blue field, man.
I love that
blue field. Was great.
Yeah,
that was great.
That was amazing.
I will never forget the play of the blue field with the guy laying on the end zone.
In the orange jersey, so you couldn't see him.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that was brilliant. To me, I will never forget the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, where they actually beat Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good times.
Oh, good times. And congratulations to us, NCAA 25.
We're finally getting there.
We're finally getting one again. I'm going to get that.
I'm going to, too. I just wish the price was not as questionable.
Yeah, for both it and Madden, it's going to be a little spendy this year, but
yeah.
I think it'll be worth it.
Madden, I don't know if it'll be worth it because Madden feels like it's too much of the same. But from what I've seen of the previews and everything for NCAA, oh boy, yeah.
I really hope they keep the idea of you creating a high school player playing in the high school all-star game, and then going through a career and having to pick your school and get your offers and
I want them to do what they tried to do before, but do it fucking successfully this time, where you actually can make your guy go through high school, you pick your offers, you go to your high school, and then you can import your character to go to fucking Madden and actually get drafted and go through that process and go through the full draft.
Because they screwed
They tried that, but they never really properly did it.
Yeah, they never really properly implemented that. Offline, you and I should talk about the new AC game, I think. Because I'm sure you have some feelings about it.
I'm interested enough that I will wait to see for reviews, but I also have enough concerns, which is why I'm going to wait for reviews.
I'm probably going to get it because I've always waited for them to do a Shinobi-style thing.
I know, why did they have to pick Yasuke? He was such a... Oh, okay.
He is a historically accurate character.
Sort of.
Yes, he was. Sort of. They're obviously. I mean, the games are.
They're fantasizing it up a little bit. Yeah.
But there was really a guy who was a black samurai in Japan at the time who was Yasuke.
Samurai is a strong word, but he was sort of. He was a retainer.
He was a retainer who was a good swordsman who did things for a lord. Yes. So he was a pseudo samurai, but
though ended up dying a slave, which is kind of
weird.
He started as a slave and became a retainer, and then died as a slave, and it's
very weird. Just like
my point, what I'm saying is that as much as I don't hate Yasuke, I would have loved him in the game as a side character or somebody that you hang out with, not as the main character.
I get that. Like you could have brought him in as like they did with Napoleon in one of the games. Like you don't want to you want to play as an OG style character, not a real life character.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the only reason that I'm like
I get it. I do get that.
And that's why I want to wait and see too, because like I know that there's a second pro tag, and I don't know how involved the first and second, how much that choice
apparently
matters.
You're going to be able to play as either one.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I just want to wait and see how the reviews are, see how the gameplay is, and kind of go from there.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of it, and I like the setting because I've been waiting for that kind of setting.
I have too.
Which is, by the way, one of the reasons that I've been really enjoying Rise of Ronin, because it's.
I have to play that.
It gives me that. It's if you haven't, go watch my videos on my YouTube channel. It is fantastic. It is fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. I've wanted to play it since I knew about it. So, all right. Getting off video games, that's for another channel for another time.
Back to football.
We're going to do our 32-1 countdown. How bad is it? How bad are teams?
Mm-hmm.
What do we think?
That's very. Honestly, I think this next season is going to really show that the league is pretty top heavy, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like, once you get past the first, I would argue, maybe 15 teams at best, everything below that's just going to have a tough time even sniffing playoffs this year.
Yeah, I can agree with
But
that.
that's just kind of how I'm seeing things at the moment.
All right, you want to start for us?
I can certainly start because I already know probably what your 32nd team is, and you definitely don't know what my 32nd team is.
I'm going to guess that it's probably one that I have in my bottom little bit here.
Probably, very likely.
I would guess we're not going to be too far off, to be honest, because I feel like some of these teams here on the very bottom, you could really just flip-flop.
Some of them you definitely can flip-flop, and I even, like, literally before we started, I flipped 2 teams, technically 4 teams, two sections, two sets of teams.
That's fine.
So
go ahead and give me your 30 seconds.
So I'll give you my 32nd team. So my 32nd team, the team that I have deemed the worst at this moment in time, based on all the information that we have, is the Seattle Seahawks.
Ooh, way down from where I have them.
Not
way down. Not way down.
I'll put the Seattle Seahawks, and I have them with a record of 3-14. Now, I'll give you why I have them at my bottom. First, I was right last year. Geno Smith fell off. He definitely was not as good as he was before. There's no questions about that. I think we can all agree that he was not as good as he was the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
Who do they have as their reliable backup now? Because they don't have who they had. I can tell you who it is. It's Sam Howell. That's their backup.
Well, he do better there than he did in Washington, I'm sure.
So I have a lot of questions of their quarterback room. So not only did they have a down year last year where they barely looked like they were a 500 team, they now don't even have as good of a backup as they had because, frankly, as much as I think Sam Howell has potential, I think Drew Lock is the same thing as Sam Howell but with more experience. So he's unlocked more of that potential. If you feel me,
I do.
And on top of that, you now have a new head coach, and I don't know what that environment's going to do. I don't know what that team environment's going to look like. I don't know anything about this team. So I have to go based on what I saw last year and went, it's probably worse. And so I don't see a QB succession plan. I have issues with their running back room. Their defense, I feel like they've tried to address that to bring back the Legion of Boom, but left their offense to hang in a way that I don't see how they're going to win games.
See, I feel like their defense is going to drag them to some wins just because
that's
their
the
defense
only
is
way
that
they're going to win
good.
games.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be.
But I still don't have enough faith in
what
that.
we were talking about with the Browns last year. Like, their defense just wouldn't let them lose certain games.
See, I don't think the Seahawks are going to be as good as that. But I could be wrong. But that's why I'm so down on them, because
we'll see.
I got too many questions of what's your QB succession plan? What's your offense looking like? What's your identity with your new coach going to be like? How's that going to all work out? I got too many questions, and so they have to be at the bottom of the list because of that.
Well, my bottom team is indeed the Panthers. I have them with a record of...
I figured.
I have them with a record of 3-14.
Oh, okay. I mean, we're not too far off then.
No, I don't think we're going to be. And that's a generous 3 wins, by the way. I was tempted to give them no wins, but I don't think they're going to go winless.
No, probably not.
I do think they have enough talent to scrape 3 wins somewhere. But they did trade away Burns for not enough. I don't know what is Bryce Young. I
still don't know.
I don't know what he is.
We've heard everything I've heard is supposedly he's made some fantastic improvements in the OTAs, but I mean that
means
hope,
nothing. But I mean that
means nothing to me. I can hear that, but that doesn't
means nothing until you get into a game and you see how the O line blocks. And I mean,
exactly.
Yes, getting him Xavier Leggett is nice, but
he'll be solid hands. Don't get me wrong. He'll be a good shorthand guy. That's great.
Yeah, but I just don't have any confidence.
There's a lot of questions.
Brand new coach who's never really coached before. He was the OC last year. Did a really good job with Baker Mayfield, but I don't know how he's going to do underneath Tepper as the owner, and I have no faith in this team right now. So
I get it.
3-14, and you are 32nd. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel and going to stay there.
All right. I totally get that. I totally understand where you're coming from with that. That's where, if you would have asked me a couple days ago, I probably would have said that's probably where I would have put the Panthers too, but surprisingly, that's not where they're at. So we'll go to 31. And surprisingly, they're not at 31 either. So this is, like I said, things are gonna.
No, it's fine. I wonder if we have the same 31 though.
I don't know, but things are gonna get weird. So 31. We're gonna move on to making fun of the New York Giants.
Okay, they're not my 31, but they are like right there.
Okay. It'd be funny if your 31 is my 30, because I'm wondering if we swapped those again.
We might have. We'll find out here in a minute.
So, and I have the Giants with a record of 3-14. Again, the same thing as the Seahawks. And I actually have them here almost for the exact same reasons that the Seahawks are. I don't know what their QB succession plan is outside of Drew Lock, which I admit I just don't know if that's going to be a proper QB over Daniel Jones. I just don't know. I don't know what that offense looks like. That defense is like the only thing that's really holding them up, and you know that you probably have a really good coach. And that's about all you got going for you.
I mean, I guess my problem with their defense is last year they gave up on opening day 40 points to the Cowboys.
That's true.
Their defense looked at times absent, and at other times looked like it was actually there.
One of the better defenses. Yeah, exactly.
And you never know what you're going to get.
So for all those reasons, I just have too many problems with the Giants. I'm gonna have a couple other teams that are gonna be 3-14, or I told you guys I had a team that's 2-15 that's still on this list that isn't in my bottom yet. And I'll explain why, but the main reason is those teams I see a future idea of what they're trying to build. The Seahawks and Giants, I don't understand what they're doing.
Okay, so my number 31 team, we're going to go out east.
Okay.
We're going to go to Washington.
Oh,
31.
Okay.
31 is the Commanders.
That's not what I thought it was. All right.
My 31 is the Commanders. And the reason why is they're going to be, I have them at 3-14 as well.
Okay.
You drafted a great new QB. He's really mobile with a good arm. Wait. I feel like I've seen this movie before. I can't help but feel that. You're trying to address some of your defense. You're bringing in Dan Quinn, but I don't know what... Like, he did decently in Atlanta until he didn't.
Though he did pretty good with the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, as their D coordinator, kind of. Yeah, sure, maybe. I'm not going to say that it was bad. It was certainly better than the Cowboys have been. But that's a pretty low bar. Like, you could step over that bar. Didn't need you to jump.
True.
So, I mean...
True.
I don't know how else...
He still made it work.
I don't know how else to feel about it. I do feel that Jaden Daniels is going to be a really good quarterback, but I just don't know how you're going to utilize him. You do have some wide receiver talent with Scary Terry. You do have a couple of running backs. Your defense is... No, it's not passable. Jerzon Newton is not going to save that defense.
It'll help, but it won't save it.
No. You're still several years away from fully contending. Your O-line, I don't know what to say about that. You've got a lot of problems and a lot of holes and a lot of things that you have to fill. You're taking steps in the right direction. You're just not going to get there this year. I do see that you have a plan. I don't know if I believe in your plan currently. We'll have to see. I don't know if I believe in Dan Quinn.
At least they have a plan.
Kind of.
It's better than what I can say about the Seahawks and Giants.
Maybe, kind of. I'm not sure if they have a plan or if they're just winging it.
It's better than the Seahawks and Giants.
All right. Team 30 for you.
All right, going on to 30. So, this is now the team that's 2-15. This is a team that I also suspected would be towards my bottom, and they are pretty much exactly where I thought they were. Welcome, New England Patriots.
They're down here for me too, just not yet.
Yeah, you guys are not only going to be really bad, you're going to be really, really bad. You have a new coach. We don't know what the system's going to look like. Drake May is not going to start. He is not ready. He's the only reason the Patriots are above the Giants and Seahawks is simply because they have Drake May. And I go, well, at least they have a potential future. At least they're trying to look like they have some idea of what the success is going to look like at some point. But they're not there yet. Yeah, they're number 30. I I don't know how this team is going to find a lot of success in this league this year. I just don't see it happening.
So, what do you have them going? 2-15, right?
2-15.
Yeah. All right. So at 30, I have the New York City Giants, and now I get to bash on them.
Okay.
I have them going 4-13 simply because they share a division with the Commanders.
That's fair.
That's literally what it comes down to me. I think they also have to play the Panthers at least once.
I think they do, yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's another team in there where I was like, maybe they could win that one. But like I said about them, I don't think y'all are going to be good just by adding a true number one wide receiver. Jones was bad last year. I don't see that getting any better. Maybe Drew Lock is him, but I don't know. Also, who's going to run your football?
Yeah.
It's just a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. I don't know who the GM is, but I don't know if they know what they're doing anymore. At this point, I think they're just throwing darts at the wall and going, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we'll have to see how that works out. I don't have a lot of faith with the Giants this year.
Not at all.
All right, number 29 for you.
29, I have the Carolina Panthers, and I have them going 4-13. And the reason why I have them higher is simply due to the fact that I look at the team and I go, you look like maybe you'll do better than last year? Surely you have to. Maybe? You kind of look like you have a future. And that's about the only reason that they're here. Because I decided that the other teams I disliked more for other reasons, and that's the only reason that they got pushed up.
That makes sense. For me, it is literally David Tepper pushed them all the way to the bottom.
I'm doing the crossing my fingers and just going, maybe Bryce Young will still somehow be good, please? Because I just would feel bad. I don't want anybody to fail. That'd be awful.
On 29, this is where I put the New England Patriots. I have them going 4-13. I gave them 2 more wins than you. I think there's just enough talent here that if you know what you're doing, you might scrape 4 wins out of this team. Might. I think that's going to be a stretch, but maybe. Maybe you have your QB of the future? Yes? No? We're not sure? I guess we're going to have to find out. I just don't feel like the rest of the team is going to be ready. I don't know how the head coach is going to do. He's been in the Patriot system forever, but I don't know what that's all going to look like.
Well. All right. 28. So at 28, I have the Washington Commanders, and I have them going 3-14. And frankly, the only reason they're here is simply due to the fact that I look at that team and I go, oh, hey, they got their quarterback. Hopefully he doesn't break a leg.
Yeah, that's...
Otherwise, I think that offense actually could cook with them. Defense, we'll just ignore that for now, but, you know.
So, my number 28, let's go mile high. The Denver Broncos.
Okay.
I have them going 4-13. Because I don't know how good or bad this team could possibly be. I'm not sure how Bo Nix is going to do, because it sounds like he still needs some work. I don't know who's going to catch the ball for them, because they traded away their Jerry Jeudy. They still got Cortland Sutton and... who? I don't know who's going to run the ball. I don't know who's going to defend for the team. I don't know what the defense is going to do. I don't know what to expect out of this team, but judging by what we saw last year, I don't think it's going to be good.
Fair.
4-13.
All right. At 27, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4-13 because I don't know what this team is. Russell Wilson and Justin Fields as your QB room greatly concerns me. Your running back had a down year last year. That concerns me. Your offensive line has always concerned me. Your defense, maybe your only redeeming quality at times? And I'm not even sure if that's going to follow you this year. Good luck.
At 27, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I have them. I gave them one more win than you. I put them at 5-12. 5-12, but I still said, well, it was a good run for Tomlin, but no winning season this year. This is the year it all goes wrong.
I thought that last year, to be fair, too.
It should have last year, but this is I don't think you're going to be able to keep the machine running this year. You guys have to strip it down. It's time to rebuild it.
Should have done it this year. We were all saying this offseason he should have just walked away this offseason.
You should have walked away this offseason. But it's time for this team to rebuild. And whether or not the team walks away from him or he walks away from the team, whatever it is definitely time to rebuild this team.
Yep.
Strip it for parts, get some new stuff, start over.
I agree. All right. At 26, I have the Denver Broncos at 4-13. For all of the exact same reasons. I just don't know what this team's going to be, man. I have too many questions. And because I have too many questions, that means you get a low record. Enjoy.
At 26, and they are going to be, according to me, 5-12, I have the Arizona Cardinals. I
really?
Look.
Wow. Okay. You're significantly lower on them than I am.
I am, but here's why. I have reasons. You've retooled your offense. You're absolutely going to run people out of the stadium. I think it's going to be fun to watch. Your offense is going to be amazingly fun to watch.
Yeah, that defense is atrocious. Yeah.
Who are you going to stop? Nobody. So the only way you're going to win games is to boat race people. So the only games you're going to win are against offenses that can't compete with you. That's why I said 5-12. I'm like, you're not going to stop enough people to make it worthwhile. You're going to lose a lot of really close games, I feel.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
But it's going to be fun to. You're not going to be boring. You're going to be fun to watch. You're just not going to do great, I don't think.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right. At 25, I have the Tennessee Titans going 5-12. Listen, you have a direction. You have an idea of where you're going. You just don't have all the pieces quite yet, and that's just it. You have good pieces, you just don't have all the pieces, and that's it. It's just that simple.
At 25, I have the Tennessee Titans going 6-11.
Oh, okay.
You may be good. Your D is still suspect. And I don't really know what the Mayo Man is yet. So we're going to have to find out what Levis can do. You've got some good talent at wide receiver, finally. I don't know how much you're going to put it all together. And you let Derrick Henry walk, and you sign... I forget who they signed, but I know they signed a running back that I would have...
Pollard.
Yeah. If you're going to use Pollard as kind of like a backup, fine. Because I think the guy you drafted last year should start.
I agree with that.
That's just me, but I don't know what you're going to do. But I can't do better than 6-11 for you in the division you're in.
That's fair. All right. Going to 24, Let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh.
I have them going 5-12. And I wanted this team to be better, but the problem is I have way too many concerns with this team from last year going forward. Everyone talked about Trevor Lawrence being that guy coming out of college, and he has not lived up to expectations. Granted, his first season was with Urban Meyer. We give him a pass for that. And that second season was pretty good. But that last season, that dip that they had halfway through the season where they just had a run of absolute disgusting trash games. Like, I worry that that trend's going to continue and they lost some pieces. I really worry about what this team's going to look like going forward because if they're going to get beat up that badly that second half of that season, it doesn't feel like enough's changed for that to be a different result going into this season. I could be wrong, but I just have a lot of concerns.
I completely understand. Um, so at number 24 for me, we're going to go somewhere else. We're going to go to Sin City.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders, who I have going 6-11.
Fair.
I mean, first off, who's going to play QB for you? Is it McConnell or Minshew?
Committee.
And how many teams have won have won with a quarterback?
Oh, I didn't say it was going to be successful.
Exactly. So that's problem number
that.
one. What are you doing at RB? Who's running the ball for you?
Whoever wants to run it.
Your defense looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It's going to have to carry you if you want to do anything.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to let the bird go and say hi to Grandma while he keeps screaming at me, so give me 1 second.
Yep.
Okay, come on, yes, come on. Say hi to Grandma. Okay, so let's talk about number 23. My 23rd team is the Chicago Bears. And while they have improved, obviously, by getting hopefully the QB of the future and as well as a wide receiver, and also trading for a wide receiver, that offense is going to be better. I just have a lot of questions of, is the first year QB going to be ready? How much ready is he going to be? How ready is he going to be with those wide receivers? I mean, remember Baker Mayfield? Everyone was touting him up when he came into Cleveland. They even had the wide receivers, but that first year was still a little rough. I feel like the same thing's gonna happen with the Bears. First year's gonna be a little rough. I think they'll be massively better next year, but until then, I think they're gonna be 6-11. I think that's kind of where I kind of expect them to be at.
I have them beat a little better, but not a whole lot.
Fair enough.
So for me, 23, this is where I landed the Seahawks.
Oh wow, okay.
I have them going 7-10 because I absolutely believe in that defense, especially where the coach that they're going to have was a defensive coordinator for the Ravens. So I think there's some good things that can be done there. I think they're going to play very hard. And as I said, it's your first year without Pete Carroll. Your defense looks great. Your offense looks anemic. I think their defense.
Dude.
I think their defense is going to drag them to several wins, but they're going to be tight wins, so it could go either way.
Fair.
Fair.
Fair enough. All right, let's talk about number 22. So my 22nd team is the New Orleans Saints. I have them pegged going 6-11. Um, I don't think they did very good last year. I know Derek Carr got injured a lot, but he seems to get injured a lot all the time for some reason. Granted, that's partially due to the O line, and I still have questions about that O line. Is there going to be enough protection for Derek Carr to throw the ball, or is he going to get hit a lot again? I just don't have a lot of faith in what this team is going up against, especially in the division that they're in. You think their division's pretty weak, but there's a couple teams that I think will make their life a little difficult. So
Maybe.
with that, Saints 22, 6-11. There you go.
I won't say that that's entirely incorrect. At number 22, I have the Indianapolis Colts, and I have them at 7-10.
Ooh,
Not
wow.
because I dislike them, because I have too many questions.
Fair enough.
First off, is Richardson him? Is he the guy? We didn't see enough of him last year to know. He got injured. Can JT stay healthy? Please, for the love of God.
Yes, I am saying that a lot.
I have no idea. Are your wide receivers actually good enough? Because you know, I forget the one that got the contract, but he looked pretty good.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but
Yep.
name's not coming
Is
to me.
Adonai Mitchell going to be good enough? What do you have? What are you? And then defensively, what are you? What do you have? There's too many questions for me on this team for me to give them more than 7 wins and to put them any higher than this right now. I could look like a fool later on. I don't think I'm going to. I think 7-10 is about right for them.
Fair enough. All right, let's look at 21. So at 21, I have the Las Vegas Raiders going 6-11. Not too far away from where you had them. Kind of the same thing. I just don't think quarterback committee is going to really work. I think if you peg one or the other to really be your QB, I think either way you go, at best you get a 500 season at best, and more than likely you'll end up more right around the 6-11 spot. Your defense has some holes. Your offense has some issues. You got a couple of years of still continuing to rebuild, and one of those main things that you have to figure out is what are you going to do at quarterback, and you haven't really figured that problem out. So,
Yep, 100%. Number 21, I have the first team from Los Angeles, the Chargers, whom I predict at 7-10. I don't think they're going to be bad. Yay, Staley is gone. Yay, you got Jim Harbaugh. He's back in the NFL. Wow. Y'all stripped out all of your wide receivers.
Even their defense, yeah.
You got Lad McConkey.
Woo.
Woo. I mean, you did some good things in the draft. You're definitely going to protect Herbert.
And according to what all the coaches are saying, Quentin Johnston's going to make a huge leap forward this year. If you believe what the coaches fucking say.
We can only hope.
That's I was going to say, we know what they secretly mean is that's what they're hoping is going to happen.
Look, I don't know how this is going to go. You could potentially climb very quickly.
Yeah.
You could also fall very quickly. You're in a precarious spot, which is why you're at 21.
That's fair. At 20, I have the LA Chargers going 8-9. I have them just a little bit higher than you, but for pretty much the same reasons. You solved some issues, great. You made new ones. Who's catching the football? And that seems to be a really big problem that you really should figure out very quickly. And until you do, I think 8-9 is probably as generous as I'm going to get with you.
I can feel that. So at 20, I have I really don't know if I like them here, but
Whoop. Go.
I have the Jags.
Okay, so you have them only a little higher than me.
I have them going 9-8, and there are teams there are teams with worse records above them. That goes to show you how little faith I have in them. The only reason they're 9-8,
I went the other way where I just took away some of their wins because I didn't have the faith.
See, and I had them splitting a lot of things with the other teams that are in the bottom end of the AFC South here.
I can understand that.
Because there's one clear top of the tier for the AFC South, and then there's everybody else. And I had them kind of going back and forth and splitting, and they're playing at home. Maybe they can. Yeah. So that's kind of what I did with the Jags, with Jacksonville.
That's fair.
So that's why I said, okay, maybe they're 9-8 ish or something. And I mean, year before last, they were pretty damn good.
They were.
Last year started pretty good for them, and then fell apart in spectacular fashion.
And never got better.
And never got better.
That's the part that concerns me the most, that he never got better.
How does this season go? I mean, you didn't really get the center you needed. Your defense didn't look great last year. Definitely needs to come on strong this year. You got a wide receiver to replace the one that left, but I don't know if you got the wide receiver you really needed to get.
Yep.
And so too many questions.
That's fair. I'm kind of in that same boat with them, which is why they were a little lower on my list.
Mm-hmm.
At 19, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going 8-9. And this is the Buccaneers for me are the same thing for you for the Jags. I have some issues, and there was just a lot of games where I went, this could go either way, and I kind of had to play, are they at home, are they not at home, and kind of played it that way a little bit. Because I think there's just a lot of teams they play that are just as good as them, or maybe a little bit better, and it's just like, that's just kind of the way the cookies kind of went, so to speak. Because they could easily be a 10-11 win team as well. It just happens that some of those games I gave to the other teams instead.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a team that's on the up and rising. I think their defense is pretty good. I think Baker has made a good step forward, and I'm hoping that he continues to make strides forward. Because if he makes another step forward, like he did last year, instead of an 8-9 team, this could be, like I said, 10, 11, 12 win team if he makes that big step forward again.
100%.
If he continues to improve. But based on last year, I have to go off of that. I think that there is still some glaring holes here and there, specifically on their offensive line, because Baker does tend to get pressured sometimes, and when he gets pressured, that's when he ends up making the most mistakes. and their defensive line is mostly good, but once in a while, for some reason, it just feels like it doesn't connect. Like once in a while, the defense just kind of gets a little sloppy for some reason.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and that's it. Like if they clean up some of that sloppiness, Baker takes a step forward. Like this team could easily be a much better team than this.
Okay. Well, at 19, I'm going to bring in my first team from the NFC North.
Oh, okay, interesting.
It's going to be the Chicago Bears.
I was going to say I brought the Bears in already.
Yep. Whom I think are going to go 8-9 because they are freaking loaded. Like
mostly on offense. But
mostly on offense, but they don't have a bad defense either. Their defense also looks pretty decent. I am not mad at this team at all. The problem is,
I just don't know year one if that's going to all click.
It's not. That's why
that's the only reason I have them lower too.
8-9, and you got a rookie QB. Even Peyton Manning didn't look great his rookie year.
Yep.
So don't expect the
Brett
stars.
Favre, hello.
Yeah,
come on.
Don't expect the stars in the moon right away. But if this team does what I think it can do this year, next year, watch the hell out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have them at 19 and going 8-9.
Now this is going to be a really weird deviation that I'm about to do here, because mostly my list has been pretty uniform, mostly, where only like one team that was like you could argue was like had a worse record should have been lower, but it's been mostly uniform where like it's kind of gone up, right? Well, this is going to be a weird one. So at 18, I have the Atlanta Falcons going 10-7. And that's the weird part, because why are they at 10-7 and at 18? To be frank, it's because I think this team on paper feels a lot like the Vikings of the last couple of years, where they have a lot of good things going for them, and Kirk Cousins is going to bring them a slightly above 500 wins because that's what he fucking does. But that's also why the rank is so low, because they're not going to do anything with it. They're going to look like a good team on paper, but when you watch them play, you're going to notice that there's going to be some weird things or weird inconsistencies, specifically with their defense, I suspect. And they're just going to somehow not look as good as they should. Like, they'll win 10 games, but they won't look like a 10-win team. Put it that way.
No, that makes perfect sense to me. At number 18, this is where I'm going to plunk the New Orleans Saints. I mean, they did some good stuff in the offseason and in the draft. They managed to pick up a new offensive lineman. They grabbed Kool-Aid McKinstry. I like what they've done. But yes, Derek Carr gets injured often. I have them going 7-10, just because I expect Derek Carr to be out at least 3 games this season.
Pretty much.
I mean,
he's going to be out 3 games.
You could be great.
Could be.
You could be mediocre, which is what I think you're going to be. I doubt they're going to suck.
No, I expect them to be a mediocre.
The problem is you can't really afford to be mediocre. Good luck.
No. All right. At 17, I have the Arizona Cardinals going 8-9.
Ooh, you have them way higher up than I do.
I was going to say, I have them higher up than you do. I think this team is going to torch people on offense, and I just swung more games in their favor of being able to outrace other people, because I acknowledge that they have the same problems, that they have not a great defense. I just think they're going to motorboat harder than you think they're going to motorboat, and that's really all it is.
I think that's probably what it is. I look at it and go, there's some stuff here. I just don't think it's enough yet.
See, I see a racehorse ready to go.
We'll see.
It'll be fun to watch either way, to be fair.
At 17, and potentially going 9-8, I have the Minnesota Vikings.
Interesting. Okay.
Rookie QB, new running back.
Probably not playing too. Yeah.
Huh?
Probably not going to play right away either.
The rookie QB?
Yeah.
Probably not. No.
It sounds like he's probably not even going to play this year.
He might sit this entire season. They might just let Darnold play the year. which I wouldn't be mad at, but that does change the equation
like I said,
a bit.
I'd only play him if the season just goes into a dumpster fire. Real
Yeah, I
fast.
mean, if you've only won 4 games, 3 or 4 games by the end of the season, you might as well play him the last couple of games just to see what you got in him. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Did not upgrade the O-line.
No. Though the O-line's not bad, it is not great.
The offensive tackles are fine. They're actually better than average. I like our tackles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Our tackles are pretty good.
Our
guards are
below average, and our center was once pretty damn good.
He was once good, and now he's become kind of serviceable at best.
He's serviceable, but he's getting older, and we definitely could replace him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could be way better than 17. They could also sink to the bottom of the power rankings by the end of the year.
They could.
We'll see.
At 16, I have the Minnesota Vikings going 7-10. I was a little harsher than you were on it, but I also acknowledge this is a team that could go 10-7 as well. Like, you could flop those depending on how things go. Kind of the same thing. Rookie QB, you don't know what you're really going to get in Sam Darnold. The schedule isn't exactly easy, especially the front half.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see how it goes. I mean, if they throw in JJ halfway through the season and all of a sudden he ends up looking good, this could be, like I said, a 10-7 season versus a 7-10. But I expect a more middling record this season, and then next year the big pop that we're hoping for.
At 16, I have the Atlanta Falcons with a record of 7-10.
No,
I just flip-flopped it.
That's good. Yeah.
And it's because I think this could be a good team. I also think this whole thing could fall apart in spectacular fashion and self-destruct.
Oh yeah.
So putting them in at 16 right in the middle feels about right.
That's kind of what I was thinking with the Vikings.
I feel like they're... If I look at the old Kirk Cousins Vikings, where they would go, just about 10 wins, their defenses were just
a little better. Yeah.
A little better than what the Falcons currently have. So that's why I was like 7-10, because their defense is going to blow some games for them.
That's possible. I can see that.
And I don't think there's the wide receiver talent that Cousins
quite as much. That's true. That's true. Though we'll see Drake London with Kirk Cousins. That could be an interesting ascent.
Drake London is good, but I don't think he pairs up to Young Diggs or to JJ.
He doesn't pair to JJ, but he could compare to Diggs, because let's be fair, Drake London hasn't had a competent passer like Kirk Cousins.
True, we'll have to see how he does with somebody who actually knows what he's doing.
That deep threat Diggs, yeah.
Right.
At 15, I have the Cleveland Browns going 9-8, and the reason why I have them here is their defense, because I don't know what that offense is going to look like, and that's legitimately the only reason. I think they're going to win 9 games off of their defense.
You ready for a good laugh?
Go ahead.
At 15, I have the Cleveland Browns with a record of 9-8.
Nice. Fair.
I literally say, okay, I feel like last year was a fluke. Joe Flacco had a renaissance, but that was utterly unexpected. Yeah. Chubb could potentially be out for as much as half the season.
Half the season, yeah. I heard that, yeah.
And who knows what Watson is going to be. Still, we still do not know. I feel like this is just the best spot for you until we figure all of those things out.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. All right. At 14, I have a team that you've already mentioned that I am significantly higher on than you. I have the Indianapolis Colts at 14, going 9-8. And here's my reasoning for you. You're right. We have questions on Anthony Richardson. I totally cop to that. But if you can get a 500 season with this team and Gardner Minshew, I think you can at least get a 500 season with this team and Anthony Richardson.
Unless he gets injured again, and then who's your backup?
That's the only question that I have for that. But I don't think that's going to happen. But we'll see.
I hope not, because I really like Richardson.
And actually, that is a good question. I'm now curious enough that I'm going to...
Didn't they get Flacco?
I think they did. It is Flacco. Yeah. So even if they do actually go down, they actually have a pretty good second still. So
I mean, if you can
I
recapture
think
that
9 and
magic
8's
from last year.
reasonable. I think 9 and 8's totally reasonable.
All right. So, yes, I agree with you, but again, like I said, just can JT stay healthy the whole season? And
See, I feel like if you can do all, yeah, JT wasn't healthy all of last season either, but again, they still managed to get 500. I feel like
yeah, but I don't know.
I feel like a lot of things have to go wrong for them to not get 500. It feels like.
Um, at 14,
But that's just me.
At 14, I have a team that they've been reaching for it and reaching for it and reaching for it, and they got so close. But this year, the window officially closes.
Oh, okay.
Buffalo Bills. Sorry, Bills Mafia.
Okay.
I have you going 9 and 8. You got rid of Diggs. You brought in Keon Coleman. I mean, he's a good interview, but he's absolutely right in one of his interviews where he said, it's not going to matter if we don't do anything. I kind of hope Frank Gore Jr. makes your team, because that would make Josh the very first quarterback to hand off to a father-son running back. Because he handed off to Frank Gore, and if Frank Gore Jr. makes the team, he can hand off to Frank Gore Jr., who's Frank Gore's kid.
Yeah.
Which I think that would be, there's something there. I like the symmetry of that, but I don't know how this is going to go for you guys. You guys have always either been good or bad, and sometimes nobody knows exactly what you are, and you lose games you should win, and nobody really knows. Your division isn't the easiest division in the world. So, guys, the window's closed, at least for now. As long as you've got your quarterback, you're fine. You're never going to completely be out of it. But now you've got to tool up around him again. You got to reload. You don't have to rebuild. I feel like you just need to reload.
Not sure if I agree with you, but I can understand where you're coming from. Just not sure I agree.
It's fine. You don't have to.
But we'll get there. I mean, I'm rankings wise, I'm not that far off. Wins loss, I think we're a little bit far off. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
At 13, I have the Green Bay Packers, and I have them going 9 and 8. And it's only because I think their schedule is actually pretty difficult, to be honest. And I'll be totally honest with you. I think there's at least 3 or 4 games that really could go either way, so they could end up definitely way above this. But I think a 9 and 8 is a fairly reasonable expectation for them. Jordan Love had a good last season. We'll see how he progresses going forward. He did have some issues that he definitely showed last season. He is not perfect. He definitely has some issues on occasion. Their O-line looks pretty good. I'm curious to see how their wide receiver room continues to develop. I am very, very curious about how their running back is, how that's going to turn out, obviously. So this team, like I said, could end up being significantly higher than this.
Didn't they get, what's his name from the Raiders?
Yeah, the guy from the Raiders, yeah.
Brandon
this team,
Jacobson.
Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs.
I knew I was gonna get. We were gonna get
there eventually.
Yes, and that's again another reason why, like, I think this team could be above this point, but it's just gonna come down to that defense I have some issues with, that O-line. If you put pressure on Jordan Love, he tends to make more mistakes. So I have a little concerns there. We'll see. 9 and 8 is a hesitant spot to put them. They could definitely be higher than this. I have them just barely outside the top 10. I would not be shocked for them to end up in my top 10, though.
At 13, I also have the Green Bay Packers, but I have them going 10 and 7, not 9 and 8. I gave them one more win than you did.
Fair enough.
And like I said, you hit everything on the head. I literally said, Love looked actually pretty good last year. Let's see how he does this year. Damn you, Green Bay, for continuing to find good quarterbacks. I hate you.
Dude, I cannot. When are they eventually going to miss on a quarterback? There's
I
got to be a
don't know.
point, right?
I don't know.
They have to eventually, right?
I hope so, yes.
At number 12, I have the second Los Angeles teams in the LA Rams going 11-6. I wanted to bring them up a little higher, but I just really couldn't find a way to do so that I thought made sense based on their schedule. I think this team is definitely very good. I think they were a dark horse last year due to injuries. Without injuries, I'm very curious to see how this team develops and continues to play. I do have some concerns, mostly on their defense. This feels like a team that's mostly going to try to out boat race people with an okay defense versus the Cards, which is boat racing with a bad defense. So that's why I think they're going to win 11 games. Um, I I'm just curious to see how Puka develops. I am a little concerned with the fact that Puka had such a great season, but we did see a kind of a resurgence, or not a resurgence. We saw a regression in Cooper Kupp last year. Granted, partially injured, but even when he was back, he did not look like Cooper Kupp of the previous year. So that does concern me. Is there some overlap in duties that is causing an issue there? I worry about that. So we'll see how they develop. I'm curious.
At number 12, I have the presumptive winners in my book of the NFC South, and that will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 10-7.
Wow, you are. I mean, we're not that far off in wins and losses, but you have them ranked significantly higher than I do.
I do. Mostly because I think they're going to win their division.
I mean, they could.
That's why they're higher.
It is between them and the Falcons for me.
So Baker looked pretty damn good last year. And then y'all got it done in the offseason by keeping his weapons together. You grabbed a center in the draft. Wasn't the center I would have taken, but supposedly he's pretty damn good.
Supposedly.
Now we'll have to see if everything can come together. And if Baker really is the guy finally.
Also, what's that running back room look like?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a question.
Yeah.
The next team on my list has that same question, by the way.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to 11. And this is that team that we talked about earlier that I have a little higher ranked than you do. It is the Buffalo Bills. I have them going 13-4 in comparison to your 9-8. Granted, only a couple spots higher, but I have them winning significantly more games than you did. I think I'm just higher up on Keon Coleman. I like their dual tight end system. I just feel like their offense really isn't going to change that much because Diggs wasn't as big of a contributor that people
By
think
the end of the
was.
season, he was not.
No, and they still managed to win games and found ways to win. So I think they can develop without that. I'm curious to see how that running back room looks. I just don't think they're going to be that significantly different than last year. I think they're going to find a way to win games, and they're going to go 13-4.
We'll see.
I mean, they could still lose a couple games. I'll put it this way: I'd be shocked to see them not win at least 10 games. That's just me though. I'd be shocked.
Okay, fair enough. At number 11, I have that one-starred team from Dallas, the Cowboys. I have them going 10-7 this year.
Okay.
They could be higher. They could not be. But the Eagles they're obviously going to sweep the Giants and the Commanders. I'm not even questioning that. But they have some very tough teams on their schedule. They have to play the Lions again. They have to play the Niners again. The Eagles, even if I split that, I still think the Eagles are damned good, especially with the way they've reloaded. So, yeah, 10-7. And here's why. I'm hearing that they're going to move a guy who's played guard most of his career in Cooper Beebe to center. Okay. Also, you re-signed an aging Zeke, and now you have a running back by committee approach? I don't think that's going to work for you. like, at all. You'll be lucky to gain 2 yards per carry on the ground this season. And with everybody watching you, with the pass, I don't know how well Dak's going to do for you. So, 10-7 for right now? You'll probably make the playoffs. You'll probably be out in the first round again.
Probably. All right. At 10, I have the Dallas Cowboys going 12-5. Only because, frankly, this is a team that historically does good in the regular season and bombs in the playoffs. Fuck it. There you go.
I don't blame you for that, by the way. At number 10, I have the Bengals going 11-6.
Ooh, okay. We're going to have a discussion about that in the far future.
We may. But remember, they do play in a division with the Ravens.
Uh-huh.
They also have to play the Chiefs again this year.
They do.
And they play the Browns twice.
They do.
And the Browns are going to win at least one of those. And no matter how crappy the Steelers are, I think the Steelers still beat them at least once.
God, no. If you think they're going to win a single game, I think you're wrong on that one.
I think the Steelers might still beat them one game.
I can understand what you're saying, but I don't think so.
It's the AFC North. It's just the way they are. It's like...
I know. I think it's the one year where that won't work, though. This is the one year where I don't think the Steelers will actually win that game.
But that's where I'm kind of at on it. I'm like, nah. So, 11-6. I have them as the 10th team. It also is going to depend on Joe Burrow's comeback and everything with T. Higgins and everything else that's going on around that team right now and how they develop. I think it's going to be interesting to watch. They could be a couple of wins better than that. I could see them getting 13 maybe. But I'm safe siding it. I'm going 11-6 just because every time I think the Bengals are going to be really good, they're not.
All right.
Also, the loss of Joe Mixon factored into this for me.
I don't think that's going to be as big of a deal, but we'll see. I have my reasons for that, though.
Okay.
At number 9, I have the San Francisco 49ers going 12-5. And it's still a great record. Don't get me wrong. The problem is pretty much everybody in my top 10 is either 12, 13, 14 wins. So it's kind of like just going to come down to how I feel they stack up against the other teams that are in this kind of same area. And it just comes down to very small factors. Yes. Okay.
Hi, Matt.
Mom says hi.
Hi.
Matt says hi. Hi, Mom. So it just comes down to these small little nuances, and I just think that these other teams just have very slight edges over the 49ers, which feels weird to say knowing the 49ers. I don't know. If you were to ask me this same question tomorrow, I might have them higher up on my list. I just feel like the other teams give me a different feeling. I don't know. I'm going off... At this point, it's basically almost gut feelings. I can't really explain it to you.
I think that your gut needs to be re-examined.
Well, I think yours does too, because that Bengals one really fucking hurt my soul.
The 49ers one hurts my soul, so at least we've got one soul-smashing, searing thing for each of us.
Yeah.
But at number 9, I have the Jets, Jets.
Holy shit, this top 10 is going to be crazy. All right, let's go.
I have the thing is, I'll bet you our records for this is fairly close. It's just, again, this is the same idea of like, where do you put them? How do you feel them stacking up? They are 12-5 according to my little crystal ball.
Okay.
So they're going to be a good team. I just feel like the other teams are, again, gut feeling. I like other teams better, and I'm also worried because they're going to be 12-5 as long as Aaron Rodgers' Achilles decides to hold up.
We'll see.
If he only makes it 4 plays again, they're toast.
That's true. Yeah, I give you that. Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'll give you that.
As long as his Achilles holds up, they're going to be damn good with Aaron. Their defense is solid, if not stellar. Their offense has plenty of weapons. Now it's time to see if Robert Saleh can save his job.
All right, at number 8, I have the Miami Dolphins going 13-4. I really like this team. I want to put them higher. I really do. I want to be honest with you. I really want to do. But the last 2 years have shown me one thing. And if that's one thing that they've shown me is the Dolphins are like the Cowboys. They're really good in the regular season, but the difference is that for some reason, the Dolphins just sometimes choke in the really big, important games. Cowboys is only in the playoffs, but the Dolphins will do it in the regular season too, but they sometimes just choke in the really big, important games.
At number 8, I also have those wonderful Dolphins from Miami, and I have them going 13-4. Look, speed kills, but that cuts both ways. If you're relying on speed and you've got it, you're going to kill. But if you rely on speed and you don't have it, you're toast.
That's true.
Oop.
All right,
so let's see how they're going to try to run people out of the stadium this year.
That's true. Tyreek Hill, Mr. Waddle. Oh my God.
And then let's not forget they got that running back from Tennessee.
Oh God, yeah.
Along with Achan and...
Achan, I was about to say, yep.
Oh my God, it's going to be ridiculous.
All right. At number 7, I have the Philadelphia Eagles going 13-4. Listen, you're a good team. You're going to be probably a good team, but people found you out last year, and you're going to have to adjust. And you will adjust, but you'll never be as good as you were before. You're going to always have some slight holes because people have analyzed your game well enough that they're going to find those slight holes, and they're going to take advantage of those slight holes. And you're just not going to be quite as good as you once were, but you're still going to be really, really fucking good.
At number 7, with a record 12-5, I have the Los Angeles Rams.
Wow, okay. You're funnily enough, you're only one game up on them, but you have them like
yeah,
5
I just
spots
like
up
them a lot. I like them a lot better. I feel like by adding both Fisk,
I do like them a lot. I just couldn't bring them up here. I
Fisk
just couldn't do it.
Fisk and Verse, I feel like they're trying to do something to help them replace Aaron Donald. I feel like maybe Cooper Kupp rushed himself back and was playing still a little injured. So with a full offseason again, maybe he's fully back. And then you've got, Puka Nacua, and Matt Stafford looks like he's back and absolutely on fire. So I love the running back they got, and then they also got Blake Corum. And like I said, really happy with this team right now. I think they're going to be a really fun team to watch. I think they're going to be really good, and I think they're definitely going into the playoffs.
Probably. At number 6, I have the Houston Texans going 13-4. I thought about bringing them up a little higher, decided not to. I think that things are going to connect a lot better now that we're getting out of the rookie season for the big important players in Stroud and the name on defense.
Anderson Jr.
Anderson Jr. I was thinking I just couldn't. I was thinking Anthony. I kept getting on to Anthony. I'm like, I know that's not it. God damn it. We'd already talked about Richardson. It isn't him. Yeah, now that we are out of the rookie seasons for Richardson and God damn it, Richardson. I already said Richardson again. God damn it. For Stroud. Fuck it. We're out of the We're out of the rookie seasons. We're moving past that. We're into next year. And
What's the alcohol content of what you're drinking?
5%. But I've
So
had
either
3
you're a
of those.
lightweight or just losing it today.
I've only had 4 beers today. Jesus. No, I just think I'm in more of a giggly mood. Who knows?
That's fine.
Regardless, rookie season done. Because of that, I do see improvements expected, and due to the improvements, I do expect it to get 13 wins. I just think that even though they're past their rookie seasons, I still expect Stroud to make some mistakes on occasion. I still think the team needs a couple holes here or there to fill before they are 100% Super Bowl ready. But I think this is definitely a team that makes it into playoffs. Definitely, potentially even makes, AFC championship levels kind of thing. So,
At number 6, I have the Eagles from Philadelphia.
yeah, all right.
I have them a record of 13-4. I'm very happy with adding Saquon.
Sorry, I lied. It's 7%. I don't know if you can read that.
I can't.
Yeah, okay. 7%. I lied. These are 7%.
30. They've added Saquon Barkley, which makes me very happy.
No, it doesn't.
Well, you hate the Eagles. I kind of hate the Eagles too. But in terms of if you're an Eagles fan, that should make you very happy.
Yes, that should make you happy.
And then getting those quarterbacks in the draft should make you ecstatic. The
Which
only
ones did they get? I forget. It was
because they got what was it? Wiggins and
what was the other one?
and Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean, that's right. Oh God, yes. I always forget about that. God damn it.
Yeah. So that's really good if you're an Eagles fan. The only question you have right now is who replaces Kelsey.
That is true. They don't exactly have a clear cut. Like,
Jason
the
Kelsey
player.
replacement. That dude.
Yeah.
Now apparently Kelsey was good enough that Aaron Donald went on a podcast and said that the Eagles were the team he hated to play against the most
Because of Jason Kelsey. Yeah.
because of Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
And Kelsey has stated, yeah, dude, our game plan for him was just double him all the time.
We were always up his ass. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it was, I love them. So I have them at 6. I think they're going to be a really good team. I don't know if they're going all the way to the Super Bowl this year, but I think they have a shot.
But they have a chance.
They have an outside chance.
All right, at number 5, I have your final NFC North team, the Lions, going 12-5 at spot number 5. Man, this team is going to cook. It's not going to look like they're going to cook because I have them at 12-5, but their schedule is a little harder than you think it would be. But man, they're going to cook, and they're going to make playoffs. And the fact that they're only at 5 tells you how much I think the teams above them are actually that good, because I think the Lions are legitimately the Super Bowl contenders.
100%. I agree with you. At number 5, I have going 12-5 and being a legitimate Super Bowl contender and winning their division, the Houston Texans.
Okay, you're a couple spots up on me. That's fair.
Talk about the biggest movers, though. Last season, I didn't think the Texans could even make the playoffs.
I was higher up on them than you were, but
you were.
Damn.
And this year, I'm expecting it to potentially be an outside Super Bowl shot.
Yep.
I mean,
you want to talk about a meteoric rise? God damn.
yeah. So I mean, you launched yourselves into the stratosphere, rocket launched straight up. So where do you go after that? Right into the Super Bowl hunt. You loaded up with Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs. Okay, Houston, let's hear you. Let's hear you holler.
People want to make the joke about let's ride Broncos. Let's fucking ride Texans. I'm all for it. Let's go.
Let's go.
At number 4, I have maybe potentially a team that you could argue is a little low, but at the same time, I think you should go fuck yourself if you're going to make that statement. I have the Kansas City Chiefs at 4, going 12-5. They're the Chiefs. It's really hard to knock them out of the top 5, especially after winning. I still have questions about the Chiefs. I always have questions with the Chiefs, but they still find a way to win. I don't care. They're still not number one in my opinion, but they're 4. So here you go.
They're not number 1 for me either. Spoilers.
Yeah, I can't. I couldn't. I just can't. It feels like they have too many problems, and yet somehow they still find a way to win. I don't get it.
Number 4 for me, the Motor City Kitties. Those Detroit Lions. I also have them going 12-5. And they came so close to a Super Bowl appearance last year that we were pulling for, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, their secondary just wasn't up to snuff, so they used their first 2 picks this year on cornerbacks with
they did.
Terrion Arnold and Rakestraw Jr. Arnold's an immediate starter. Rakestraw,
yeah, it's more of a project.
Yeah, he's more of a project. He could start at slot corner, certainly.
He could, yeah.
I would not be upset by that. But I feel like Detroit finally has something they can be happy about.
True. It's true. They finally have a good football team. Woo! Woo! At number 3, I have another really good football team. What a shocker. It's the Baltimore Ravens. I have them going 13-4 at 3. I could have brought them a little higher. I know you're starting to question, what the fuck did I put at 2-1 right now?
Well, let me see here. I'm going to guess you put the Bengals at 1 like the chode smoker you are.
Whoa! That's aggressive. Chode smoker. Fuck
oh, yeah, dude. I know that you're all up on Joe Burrow's taint.
Dude, listen, not only are you wrong, we'll explain it when we get there. But I have the Ravens going 13-4. They're a really great team. I just think that there are 2 other teams that are better.
So you're going to put the Jets at 1 and the Bengals at 2?
We'll talk about it when we get there.
All right. Well, since you decided to hurt my soul with the 49ers, my number 3 is the 49ers, who I have going 15-2. I mean,
okay.
If you made they made it to the Super Bowl, and they came up just short. That's okay.
Constantly seems to be their problem.
Honestly, very little seems to change between this year's squad and last year's squad. All of the key pieces are still there. About the only thing they lost was Chase Young. But they added a presumptive starter at cornerback. They got some stuff, offensive stuff in the draft. Look, I don't like what they did in the draft, but they seem to like it. So we'll see how it works out, because they've done some weird shit before. They still have the best running back in football. And
that's debatable.
CMC?
He's a really good running back. I don't know if you want to say he's the number 1, but he's definitely arguably in the top 3.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
I was going to say the only people that I could see even matching up to him are JT when he's healthy. And what, Saquon?
I was going to say Jacobs, but yeah.
Jacobs?
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs? Yeah, or you could put Saquon in there. Either or. But I still think that he's better when he's healthy. I think he's better than all of them, just in my opinion.
Maybe. I think the only one, if full on healthy, I legitimately think the only 2 that give him a run for his money that when they're fully healthy is JT or Josh Jacobs, personally.
Yeah.
But
and that's because
Henry in his prime could have, but I don't think Henry now
I don't
could.
think anymore. No. But
yeah.
We'll get to Henry in a bit here. But yeah. I mean, I think the biggest problem is they're going to need to overcome their demons and try to finally win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the only reason that I have them so far down is I almost have them basically kind of in a pulling a Cowboys where they just can't quite fucking get it.
Yeah, but they can make it to a Super Bowl, which means they're high.
Yeah, so. I get it. I just feel like it's just after enough times of seeing that, there's got to be a point where you just go, they just can't get over that fucking hump. And I want to see somebody else get there. Anyways, let's go to number 2. At number 2, I have a team that I think is really good. A team that's potentially could make a Super Bowl if it wasn't for a number 1 team. So at number 2, I have the Cincinnati Bengals going 14-3 because rock Joe Burrow.
Nope.
Dude,
Look,
that team's going to light it the fuck up. It's going to torch everybody. Joe Burrow's not going to be injured. That team almost went 500 without Joe Burrow. You put Joe Burrow in there, that team's going to be fucking amazing. I'm telling you now.
And name their starting cornerbacks.
I don't care. They're going to boat race everyone. I don't. Listen, I understand where you're coming from. I actually legitimately think the Bengals are a slightly underrated team. I think they legitimately will be really good. I do have concerns on their defense, obviously. But their defense did okay last year despite all of that, so I'm curious to see how that pushes forward into this year.
You're
Because
not
if they
entirely
even look
wrong.
close to as good as they were last year with their defense, if their offense looks significantly better with Burrow, I do legitimately see a
I'm just
Bengals team that's
looking
in
at
the
their
top
schedule.
5.
I'm just not as high on them as you are, I guess.
Yeah, see, I realize that I'm playing up the memes a little bit, but I do legitimately see the Bengals as a top 5 team. I want to make that clear. I do legitimately think they're a top 5 team.
That's fair. My number 2 team is obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. I have them going 15 and 2. Just because you can say, oh, all the offseason, Rashi Rice, Look, they got Xavier Worthy, who's the fastest.
Worthy, yeah.
The Worthy. They got Hollywood Brown. I mean, they still have good running backs. They didn't really lose anything. They still have Patty Mahomes. They still have Travis Kelce. Look, the only thing I'm worried about is their secondary because they did trade L'Jarius Sneed and didn't really address it in the draft. But maybe they already don't feel they need that. So, I mean, whatever. At this point, they're absolutely going to boat race people out of stadiums.
Bird was being oddly quiet, so I just wanted to see what he was doing.
It's like kids, right?
Pretty much.
But yeah, I think they're absolutely going to boat race people.
I get
they
it.
have enough offense this year that I'm not worried about it whatsoever.
I get it. I still have some concerns here and there, but I understand what you're saying. So we'll go with my number 1 overall team, which you've already figured out by now, obviously. It is the New York Jets. I have them going 15 and 2. I don't see a real big problem with this team as long as Aaron Rodgers' Achilles works. And that's what it is. If Rodgers' Achilles holds up, this team's 15 and 2. If Rodgers' Achilles breaks, this is a 2 and 15 team. That defense is so fucking good. I actually don't think that's even true though. That defense is so good. They'll almost could drag a team to 500 as long as their backup QB isn't fucking Zach Wilson. I don't see a lot of problems with this team. I see a really good quarterback with some really talented wide receivers, with some really good running backs, with a pretty competent O-line, with a really good defensive line, and some talented corners and linebackers. This is the team. I feel weird to say it. This is the team that we expected last year, because it is. This is the exact team we expected last year, but now we're getting this year because of Rodgers' Achilles. And I think that's really what it's going to come down to. If Rodgers is fully healthy, this team's going to be really dangerous. If Rodgers is even like a quarter off his game, this team is maybe misses playoffs kind of thing.
Yeah. So my number 1 overall team is the Baltimore Ravens, whom I have going 14 and 3.
Okay.
And they damn near made the Super Bowl last year.
They did. And honestly, I think they should have.
I feel like they should have too.
They played quite poorly in that game.
They did. But this year they've added Derrick Henry, who is not prime anymore.
No,
he doesn't
but
need
still
to
really
be.
Good.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be. Then they drafted Nate Wiggins.
Yep.
And they got Adisa Isaac.
Yep.
By the way, the Eagles didn't get Wiggins. They got Quinyon.
No, they got Quinton Mitchell, yeah.
Quinyon Mitchell, yeah. But Adisa Isaac, Tez Walker's going to pay immediate dividends for them in the wide receiver game. And they have the most dynamic quarterback in football. You still have Andrews. You also have Likely. You've got many.
How unlikely?
Blah, blah, blah. The point is that you still have all these weapons, and it's just, I think they're they're not unbeatable, but I mean, you lost Patrick Queen to the Steelers, so yeah,
that does hurt.
that hurts. But
Mostly because he went to the Steelers.
mostly because he went to the Steelers. But overall, I still think this team is absolutely going to pancake people. And if they get out and going and nobody gets hurt this year, this is an easy pick for me as a potential Super Bowl contender. 100%.
I can understand them. I have a little lower down, only because of the fact that they did stumble at that final hurdle, and I worry about that potential choke factor, right?
Yeah.
But that's the only reason that I have them 2 spots lower. I still think they're really good and that they're definitely one of the top teams.
The other reason I put them above
Bowl.
like the Chiefs and the Niners is because I'm getting tired of the Chiefs and the Niners.
Oh God. Can you imagine if we get another Super Bowl and it's the Chiefs and Niners? Oh my God, I'll blow my brains out.
I mean, Ravens Niners I'd be okay with. That would be fun to watch.
I would be okay with that. I mean, it'd be annoying to see the Niners again in there, but I'd be okay with it.
I would love.
I'd be
Ravens,
far more
Lions.
better if it was Ravens Lions.
Oh God, that would be so much fun.
That'd be more entertaining. Heck,
way more entertaining.
Jets and any of them would be fun, but better too. Like, as long as it's just not the Chiefs in the Super Bowl or not the 49ers. If it's one or the other, it's okay. I just don't want them both again. I think we've seen enough of the Chiefs versus 49ers. The Chiefs win. The 49ers just can't get over the Chiefs hump. I don't know why. They just can't do it.
Anyway, that is our 32-1 and what we think each team is going to do schedule-wise in terms of how they're going to be. As you see, we didn't agree on everything. Even if we got, because most of our predictions for the teams were fairly close.
Yes.
But where we ranked them after those predictions changed quite a bit.
Yes. And funnily enough, I think I'm going to save this because I'm curious to see how our predictions will stack up to what ends up actually happening. So I'll probably end up saving this. Not necessarily the game-by-game one that I did, but the just overall
records.
I'll be curious to see.
That's going to be interesting. We'll take a look at it at the end of the season and see how close we got.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know when we'll be back. We're probably going to take a bit of a break. I definitely know we'll be back post-preseason.
Yep, we'll be back post-preseason. Well, that should be back probably pre-preseason.
We'll be back probably at least
we'll
once or
be
twice
back
in the next couple of months here.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll probably be back at least a week before preseason starts. I imagine we'll be back before even that because we'll probably talk about NBA and NHL finals.
At some point in time when the NBA and the NHL finals both wrap up, we'll probably be back to talk about those. And then we'll be back probably the week before preseason starts to at least go over the first set of preseason games and kind of what we've been hearing out of mini camps and everything else. And we'll really pick it back up during that time period. And then post preseason, of course, we have our post preseason 1-32 rankings, which will take into account what we've seen in the preseason and any injuries that have cropped up in the preseason. So that's going to be a thing.
And then obviously you got your regular season after that. So, back to normal schedule.
Then you have your regular season after that. Somebody, I think, is already out for the season.
Is there a player already out this season?
Yeah, I got to look it up. I just wanted to talk about this real quick because I remember seeing it.
I don't remember hearing about that.
Hold on.
I was going to say, I don't remember seeing that yet.
I thought somebody already blew an Achilles. I don't see it. I swore I had seen it somewhere. But yeah, I don't see it on here anymore. Parker retired though. Oh, there it is. Drew Sanders for the Broncos.
Of course it's the fucking Broncos.
Tore his Achilles in practice.
Fucking hell, dude. Broncos stay losing.
And then the Eagles' Devontae Parker has, at the age of 31, has retired after 9 seasons.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
That one surprises me a little bit.
He said he wants to spend more time with his family.
Yeah, fair enough then.
Wow, Dell's already back at practice 3 weeks after being shot.
Must not have been a very life-threatening shot.
I don't think it was either, but at the same time, he's trying to live up to the name Tank.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Alrighty. Well, that's all we have for you this week. We will be back eventually. And like I said, post NHL, post NBA, you'll definitely see us. We'll talk about those. And then we'll be back probably the week before the preseason starts. Unless we think of something else we want to talk about or do. Which could happen. Also, you may see, and I've discussed this with my wife, but we have not yet decided whether we're going to do it. My wife and I plan to watch the NHL draft, round 1. And we may film ourselves or record ourselves watching that here on screen. And we may actually see how that works out. And you may see that go up on the channel.
Right,
but
nice.
That's all going to be, we haven't decided, if my wife wants to be on camera or not.
Gotcha.
So that's a thing.
You could have her off screen and just have her use audio. She doesn't want to be on the camera.
Yeah, we could, but I don't know how she's going to feel about the whole thing.
I was just gonna say it's another alternative.
Yep. Anyway, we hope that whatever you guys put your mind to this week, you can accomplish it. Go ahead and believe in yourselves. We hope that you all have a wonderful week, and we hope that every one of you out there feels loved. So, with that being said, stay bearded.